Welcome to Steps Forward with Ricky, a weekly walking podcast designed to help you take steps forward in your life and your day. Hello. Welcome to the podcast. I am currently videoing this live on TikTok, which is a weird experience because I can't really look at the camera of my community. So I'm looking in front of me and it's very interesting. Welcome to Steps Forward with Ricky. I'm back in the studio right now. For those that are like, what does back in the studio mean? It means that this is where the podcast started. This is where it was born. This is where it was produced in Michigan. And it's really nice to be back in this studio because this studio truly has changed my life just by starting this podcast, for having the opportunity to start this podcast. And if you're new here, this is a walking podcast, which means you should be walking as you're listening. That means that you're not sitting, just to put that in context. So take a moment, get your shoes on, grab your water, go for a walk, bundle up. I don't really care how you do it, just do it. And it's a new day, a fresh start, no matter what day you're listening to this. So welcome to the podcast. I'm always excited to be here. And I'm back in Michigan right now. And guess what? I'm moving to California, which is so crazy because if you've been an avid listener and you've watched my journey unfold just from overcoming depression and walking away from weed and walking away from my relationship and going on my road trip and all the things that I've discovered in between, it's like, how did I get here? I don't know if you can relate to that. It's like your life is one way for so long and you're just operating at one speed and you're in pain, or you just don't know if you're going to be able to break through the limiting beliefs or break through the old stories or break through your addictions. And then one day, 5 months later, you realize you're not even broken. You never really were broken, right? But there are parts of you that felt broke. And I hope that my story and my journey shows you that, first of all, transformation is not a linear journey. You don't change your life all at once. You change it in time and with time and one step at a time. But also that most of all, you can change it. You can change your life. You can walk away from weed. You can get out of the relationship that might feel good, but just might not be great. You can leave the job that you fucking hate. You can start a project. You can start an idea. You can start a podcast. You can move across the country. You can make decisions that not every single person is going to agree with it, because if you agree with it and you know it's the right decision, then the decision will unfold how it's supposed to. Ending up in California was not a part of my plan, and who knows what will happen. But I realized that all the plans that I made before, they weren't even my plans. You know what I mean? They were just plans. It was like, I got to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. And do I even want to do it? I don't know. And I'll tell you, walking away from weed was the first decision I made to change my life. And it wasn't like I hadn't made decisions before to change my life. You know, I was in a good relationship. I was doing really well with my job. I was doing marketing. You know, I really was on paper taking these steps forward. But for me, it felt like I wasn't moving. I don't know if you can relate to that. Like, you're doing the right things, but then you have these secrets or these habits or these patterns that you know in your heart that if you don't get rid of them, it doesn't matter how many of the right things that you do. So the day that I walked away from weed, I always say is the day that I started my life again. I know it sounds dramatic. You can replace weed with alcohol or a relationship or anything in your life that you feel powerless to. But when you feel powerless to something, it's hard to take a step forward. So when I walked away from weed, what I did was I walked into a new version of myself. Not right away, not in a linear way, but I said to myself, okay, I'm going to take this thing away from my life, this thing that has so much power over me, this thing that is filled with pain, this thing that I use because of the pain and the discomfort. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to commit to the process. I'm not just going to throw my marijuana out because out of sight, out of mind. I'm going to commit to the whole journey of what it's like to change your life. And I walked away. And when I walked away, it wasn't like I woke up the next day and I felt great. I walked away and I knew that feeling this, the pain and the discomfort, was worth walking away because it was a hell of a lot better than staying where I was at. And that's what real change is. You know, this community that I've built and all the changes I've made, people always ask me, like, should I just throw the marijuana away, or should I just put it away out of sight, out of mind? Should I do this or should I do that? Like, I can't get past the first 3 days. And the truth is first of all, everyone's on a different journey, right? So you got to be ready for the journey. But second of all, not only do you have to be ready for the journey, you have to be committed to the journey. The journey is not the first couple of days. The journey is not just the day you walk away from something. The journey is all the things and all the days after that. The journey is facing yourself. You know, all the pain and discomfort that you were pushing down because you were getting high, that's just going to come up. And when it comes up, what are you going to do? Because you know what's going to happen? Your first instinct is to get high. You're bored, you're going to want to smoke. You don't feel creative, you're going to want to smoke. That relationship you were in ended, you're going to want to smoke. You feel stuck, you're going to want to smoke. And guess what? That's okay. That makes sense. Can we normalize things without going back to them? Can we miss something without going back to it? Can we feel pain without running to the first thing that might take our pain away temporarily? The answer is yes. And it's okay if you're not on day one. It's okay if you're not even thinking about it yet. Maybe you've thought about it a little bit. You might be on day 10, day 11, whatever day you want, doesn't matter. Because no matter what day you're on, it's still a journey that you have to commit to. And I remember like making the decision, like I knew that this was going to be painful for me, but it wasn't going to be as painful for where I was at. It was a lot more painful for me to think about my life as it was, right? You know, you're doing something for so many years and you know that it's not the right thing to do, and you know that you've stayed too long, and you know that it's hurting you, but you keep doing it. Why? I'm not actually asking you why, but I think you should ask you why. It's good to know what something brings into your life positively. It's also good to know what it brings into your life negatively, because the truth is addiction and patterns and beliefs, sometimes they offer a form of release for us. We wouldn't still be doing them if they didn't. So I had to accept that I did smoke for certain reasons, and there were positive reasons too. But my list was a hell of a lot longer for the negative reasons. It made me creative. That was a fun thing. Made me feel good and confident for an hour, for 2. That felt good. But if I played the full script, if I looked at the full list, the bad outweighed the good. And I was so sick of justifying that for myself. I didn't want to live like that anymore. I just didn't want to survive my life anymore. And if you're getting high all day, you're not really living your life. And I'm not against marijuana. You know that. I'm against using something that makes you feel powerless. And I'm going to pause here. And I'm going to let you know that I know that it's freaking hard to walk away from something that you use every single day. I can't think of anything harder. Whether that's a person, whether you're moving, whether you drink, whether you overeat, whether you binge Netflix all day, whether you get high, anything you take away from your life that you use to distract yourself, to numb yourself, to free yourself, to whatever it is that you do, when you take that away, you're going to feel something. You're going to feel the things that you don't want to feel. My biggest fear in my life was to feel. Truly. I mean, I was a life coach for 11 years. I'm a motivational speaker. And I was getting high all day. Everyone has something they're scared of. And if you're listening to this right now and you're like, I can't get past day 1, it's not that you can't. It's that you haven't yet. And if I can, you can. And the craziest thing is that thousands of other people have now. You know, you think you're alone in something, and then you make a decision, and you share with the world, and then you realize that not only were you not the only one, you were like one of thousands. Thousands. So everyone has been in your place. If you're the person right now that's like, I know I should quit, but I'm not ready, or like, I want to stop, but I keep falling off track, guess what? The person who's already quit has been in exact shoes as you. They've walked in your shoes. And guess what? One day you'll walk in their shoes. And one day they'll walk in my shoes. It's not a linear journey. We think that we're alone. And what I say now is what's personal is universal. If you feel it, the person next to you feels it, or the person next to them. And moving to California, just being where I'm at now was like, it's just a reminder that the best decision I've ever made in my whole life was to give myself an opportunity to open a new door. And I couldn't open a new door until I closed a other door. And the door that I closed was the door that really kept me standing still. It was getting high all day. And it's not because I stopped smoking and then all of a sudden my whole life was different, but that I could open a new door. I could crack a new door open. I could heal. I could hold myself to a new standard because this thing that I had so much guilt and shame around, I was getting rid of. And I knew that I could heal. And I know it's painful. I know that it is. Listen, I avoided it for a long time because who the fuck wants to be in pain? But you're already in pain. You're already in pain. If you're getting high all day, or you're staying in something too long, or you're using something to survive your life, you're already in pain. Not to make you feel bad about yourself, but I just want you to realize that like you're already suffering. It's just that the thing that you're using makes you suffer less temporarily. But you're already in pain or else you wouldn't be trying to escape. So what are you so scared of? To be in more pain? You're only going to be in more pain for a little bit, and then you're going to be in less pain and less pain and less pain. And then you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be able to make decisions again. You're going to have confidence. You're going to break those beliefs. You're going to create new stories. And then you're going to be telling someone else that they should do it. Because if you can do it, they can do it. I'm telling you, it is the best decision I've ever made in my life. And I'm not against marijuana. And I make no judgment if you're not there yet. I make no judgment if you never stop. It's not even about the weed. It's about having the courage to get rid of something that holds you back, that weighs you down, that makes you less of a person than you really are, that takes your potential and sort of just blurs it a little bit. I've been in a lot of therapy. I've done a lot of shit in my life. And in the last 5 months, I have created more new stories and broken down more beliefs and taken more chances on myself than ever before. And I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you how. Not because I'm the strongest person on the earth, but because I decided to be the bravest, for at least for myself. I didn't trust myself at all before. I was super restless, unstimulated, anxious all the time, but mostly just in pain. My body and my brain was stuck as a 13-year-old girl who lost her mom. And because I had used so many things in my life to escape, whether it was alcohol, drinking a little too much, even though I'm not an alcoholic, like there was definitely a time where I would be drinking a little too much, but whether it was my eating disorder that I had, that I was focused on that, or a new job that gave me a high, or a new relationship that gave me a high, and then just getting high all the time. I never had an opportunity to face myself because I didn't want to. It was too scary. But when I healed my relationship with food and I got out of my actual relationship and things in my life weren't really that bad, and then I realized I was still getting high, I was like, oh shit, this is bigger than me. This is real shit. And if I keep smoking, I can't get to the real shit. And if I can't get to the real shit, I cannot change my life. The hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life is tell the truth. Not to you, but to myself. And the truth is that I was totally 100% screwing my life up. But not because I'm a bad person, not because you're a bad person, because I was a person in pain. I was a person that was stuck as a little girl. I was a person that was so scared to be with herself. She would have rather been anywhere else, on anything else. And it doesn't happen right away. when you take something away from your life. But you know what I do remember? I do remember when I remember thinking, okay, Ricky, you're gonna do this time. You've tried to quit 1 million times. What makes this different? What made it different for me was that I was in enough pain where I decided that if I was going to be in pain in this way or I was going to be in pain the other way, I wanted to be in pain the other way because at least I knew that was going to be temporary. And I felt like time was running out for me. And time is never running out. You always can change your life, but time does go whether you change your life or not. And I was really scared. I was scared that I was going to be the reason that I didn't achieve all my goals and didn't do all the things that I wanted. And I was like, fuck, I can't go to bed at night knowing that I'm the reason. And that was scary for me. Scarier than not smoking. So when I made the decision to walk away from weed, I made it fully. I remember saying to myself, this is going to suck. This is going to suck. And guess what? You're going to do it anyways. Because on the other side of this is the door that you've been waiting to open. And when you walk away from something that isn't right, you open the door to something that is. Doesn't open right away. I mean, and my life has changed so much. I have so many things to be grateful for. I'm the most grateful for this podcast and this community. Because if I didn't walk away from weed and have so many days under me and months under me and have this new leadership and feel this way, I would never, ever have this incredible community. You guys, I would never have thousands and thousands of people that are taking steps forward and changing their life daily, walking away from weed, walking away from something in their life that weighs on them. I wouldn't have a podcast that was ranked in the top hundreds globally. I wouldn't be moving. I mean, I wouldn't be doing anything. But the right decisions open the right doors. But only if you make them. So don't feel like you have to be in my place right now. Just know that if you have an inkling or you feel in your heart that you want to walk away, you want to take a step forward, and you're looking at me and you're like, she is so further than me. That's okay. That's a good thing. You know why? Because when someone's ahead of you, you know that you can get there. It gives you proof. I might be a few steps ahead of you, but you're not that far behind. I just ran my first walking away from weed program, which with an incredible group. And it was so awesome. And I'm going to keep running it. It's a 3-day program, 60 minutes a day of live coaching, really, really diving deep into taking steps forward in the process that I use, and you build community. And I'm going to keep running this program because it works. And we had incredible results. And I feel so grateful to be in a leadership position because I led myself. I feel so grateful that people are taking these steps forward. So if you're interested and you want to learn more about the program, I'm creating like a little website right now for it. But follow me on Instagram, Ricky N. Friedman. Follow me on TikTok, Ricky N. Friedman. Literally, it's just the same for everything. DM me on Instagram if you want to learn more about the Walking Away from Weed program. I'm only letting a certain amount of people in. If you're listening to this right now on the live and you want to learn more, say, I want to learn more about the program, like type it into the comments. I will reach out to you, or DM me on Instagram and be like, I want to learn more about the Walking Away from Weed program. I'm starting March 8th. It's 3 days, March 8th. I'm only opening the doors for like 4 or 5 days. I'm going to keep running this program because this program works and people need it. And I wish I had had it. And the best way to lead other people is to lead yourself. And then the best way to give back is to take something that you've transformed to help other people transform it. So thank you. I'm literally sweating. Sweating through my shirt. So that's it. It was really fun to record this live. I have no clue people are saying in the comments. They could be trolling me. They could be loving me. I don't know. But follow the podcast. I can't speak. Follow the podcast. Follow TikTok. If you want to learn more about the Walking Away from Weed program, it launches March 8th, which will probably be the day after this comes out. Yes. So get on it now. I love you guys. I'm here for you. You are not alone, and I hope you had a great walk. Drink water. If you didn't walk, I don't know what to tell you, but if you did, drink water. Even if you didn't, drink water. And I love you guys, and I'll see you on Monday.